Greetings, dear subscribers and casual listeners of my channel. Have you ever wondered why no one used the time turner to save Dumbledore? What if there was a way to prevent his death, but no one even tried? In today's video, you'll find out the real reason why the time turner couldn't bring Dumbledore back. When I first watched Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, one question kept nagging at me. Was there really no way to save Dumbledore? My friends and I left the theatre discussing every possible solution. And soon we had an idea. Why didn't Harry use the time turner? He had used it before. He knew how it worked, and Dumbledore meant so much to him. Wouldn't he at least try? But he didn't. Why? The time turner is a small hourglass on a chain that allows the user to travel back in time. In The Prisoner of Azkaban, Hermione used it to attend multiple classes at once. Professor McGonagall gave it to her as a special privilege. Later, she revealed its secret to Harry and Ron, and together they used it to save Buckbeak and Sirius Black. So why wasn't it even considered in The Half-Blood Prince when Snape killed Dumbledore? Harry was devastated. Dumbledore was more than just a headmaster to him.
I couldn't stop thinking about this.
After digging into the books and discussing with fellow fans, I found several possible answers. First, Dumbledore was already dying. He had destroyed one of Voldemort's Horcruxes and was cursed beyond healing. Maybe Harry understood that saving him would only delay the inevitable. Second, time travel in the wizarding world is dangerous. One of its biggest rules is that you can't interfere with your own past. Meeting yourself or changing major events could have catastrophic consequences. Perhaps Harry simply didn't know how to alter the timeline without making things worse. But even with these reasons, something still didn't add up. Then I found the real answer. In the Order of the Phoenix, during the battle at the Ministry of Magic, all the time turners in the Department of Mysteries were destroyed. That scene never made it into the movies, leaving many viewers unaware that time travel was no longer an option. So, in the end, it wasn't a plot hole. It was just a missing detail from the films. But let's take a step back and imagine for a moment. What if, by some miracle, a time turner had survived? What if Harry somehow got his hands on one? Would it even be possible to save Dumbledore? Let's say Harry found a hidden time turner and decided to use it. The moment Snape raises his wand atop the astronomy tower, Harry steps back in time. He returns to just a few hours before the tragic event, slipping through the corridors of Hogwarts, his heart pounding. He knows he can't let his past self see him. He knows he has to be careful. But then the question arises, what can he actually do? If he warns Dumbledore, would the headmaster even listen? Dumbledore always seemed to know what was coming. He had accepted his fate long before that night. If Harry bursts into his office, shouting about what will happen, would Dumbledore simply smile, his blue eyes twinkling, and tell Harry that some events must unfold as they are meant to? And even if Harry does manage to change something, what then? Stopping Snape from casting the killing curse doesn't erase the threat of Voldemort. The Dark Lord is still out there. The war is still raging. And most importantly, the Elder Wand still belongs to Dumbledore. If Dumbledore doesn't die that night, then the Elder Wand never transfers its allegiance. That means Voldemort never makes the fatal mistake of believing the wand belongs to him. That means the final battle at Hogwarts might not play out the way it was supposed to. Maybe Voldemort would win?
That's the dangerous thing about time travel. A single change ripples outward, altering events in ways no one can predict.
Even if Harry didn't think about that, he would still have to face the cold, hard truth. The rules of time travel are strict. If he succeeds in stopping Snape, then what happens to the Harry who originally witnessed the event? If past Harry never saw Dumbledore die, then present Harry would have no reason to use the time turner in the first place. That creates a paradox, an endless loop that could break time itself. This isn't just speculation. The Harry Potter books make it clear that time travel has limitations. When Harry and Hermione saved Buckbeak and Sirius, they didn't actually change history. Those events had already happened. They simply fulfilled what was always meant to be. If we apply that logic to Dumbledore's death, it means one thing: his fate was sealed. That's why no one tried to use a time turner. That's why the idea never came up in the books. Even if a time turner had existed, it wouldn't have made a difference. Dumbledore was meant to die that night, not because of fate in a mystical sense, but because the story demanded it. His death was a necessary step in Voldemort's downfall. But that doesn't stop the what-ifs.
What if Dumbledore had somehow lived? What if he had one more year, one more day? Would he have fought in the final battle? Would he have stood against Voldemort one last time?
Dumbledore was, without a doubt, the only wizard Voldemort ever truly feared. Their duel in the Order of the Phoenix was proof of that. Voldemort threw everything he had at Dumbledore, and the headmaster met him at every turn with effortless brilliance. If he had been alive at the Battle of Hogwarts, the war might have ended differently.
But maybe that's exactly why he had to go.
Dumbledore wasn't just a mentor, he was a symbol. His presence gave people hope, but his absence forced them to find that hope within themselves. When Dumbledore died, the weight of the war shifted onto the younger generation. Harry, Ron, Hermione, they were no longer students under his protection. They were soldiers in a battle far greater than themselves. Dumbledore understood that. That's why he made the choices he did. That's why he never tried to escape death. He knew that sometimes the greatest lesson a leader can give is showing others how to stand on their own. So no, the time turner couldn't have saved him. Even if it were possible, Dumbledore wouldn't have allowed it. His time had come, and he embraced it. But that doesn't make it any easier, does it? Even after all these years, after rewatching the films and rereading the books, there's still a small part of me that wishes things had gone differently. That Dumbledore had one more conversation with Harry, that he had seen the end of the war, that he had been there, standing at Hogwarts, smiling as Voldemort fell. But maybe in a way he was there, not in body, but in the wisdom he left behind, in the love and courage he passed on, in the quiet guidance that still shaped Harry's journey. Dumbledore may have died that night, but his presence never truly left. And that, more than anything, is why the story unfolded exactly